Lizards are a large group of reptiles that have been evolving over the course of 260 million years, which is around the mid-Triassic for my fellow paleontology fans. And of course, so much time passing usually results in some funky adaptations. So we are going to be going over 5 lizards that have incredibly unique adaptations. The adaptations we're going over are specifically predator avoidant. From running on water to gliding through the air, let's go through some of the weirdest lizard adaptations. Hey guys, it's Ollie, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Exploring Exotics. So let's start off with our first lizard. So let's start out with Moloch horridus, also known as the thorny devil. These weird lizards can be found in the arid area of Australia, and they are the only species in the genus Moloch. Although many taxonomists suspect that there might be another species in the wild that we have yet to find. But as far as we know right now, they are only distantly related to the North American horned lizard, which are in the genus Phrynosoma, which is also a lizard that we will be talking about in this video. But back to the thorny devil. This is a diurnal species, meaning that it stays out during the day, and they are lay-in-wait predators. They spend their day camping out at an ant trail, and they simply pick off the ants as they're passing. They do this not only to conserve energy, but also staying still helps with their camouflage. Their scale color and texture helps them quite a bit with camouflaging, especially against birds of prey. But as a small 4-inch lizard in an arid species, they have much more to worry about than just birds of prey. And not only do they blend in when they stay still, but when they do walk, they have a sway to their walk to make them look like some kind of dead leaves in the wind. When this camouflage does fail, they have another defense. The thorny devil gets its common name by all of the cone-shaped specialized scales on its back. And while these spines do help with camouflage, they also make it nearly impossible for the lizard to be swallowed comfortably. And of course, just this look won't be enough to scare off every predator it might come across. So they have another much weirder adaptation. These lizards have a spiny false head on the back of their neck made of fatty tissue. And when threatened, it will actually duck its real head between its legs, presenting the false head. The idea is to trick the predator into thinking that's the real head, so that if it attacks, it'll go for the fake head, giving the lizard enough time to react and have a better chance of escaping, without any harm to any important body parts. And now on to our second species. Meet Ouroboros cataphractus, also known as the armadillo lizard. This lizard is endemic to the Karoo biome of South Africa. They are pretty susceptible to predators, mostly mongoose and birds of prey. They are also a diurnal species that spend most of their time basking. And like always, being diurnal makes them more susceptible to predators, since the predators are out hunting at this time. To help combat this, these lizards actually live in groups, which is super rare for reptiles of any kind. Multiple families will even live together, including multiple males. Although the males may fight sometimes, and they fiercely guard this territory from other males. The reason this helps is there is simply safety in numbers. There are more eyes looking out for danger, and if one of the lizards darts, all of the rest of them will dart as well. They spend most of their time basking near hidey holes and crevices. And even if one of them is caught, they still have a defense. They will take their tail into their mouth and roll into a ball, similar to an armadillo or its namesake, Ouroboros. When they are in this stance, they protect their soft underbelly, and the outside is protected by hard, sharp, modified scales and dermal bone. Usually, this makes the predator give up and go find an easier meal. These lizards are capable of dropping their tails, however that is an extremely desperate last-ditch effort. And just like that, we are on to our third lizard. Meet the basilisk lizards. Technically, these are 4 species of lizards, but they are all basilisks, and they all have the same ability that I'm going to be talking about, so we're just going to cover all of them as a broad term. So once again, these lizards are diurnal and typically arboreal. They can be found in Central and Northern South America, but can be found in Florida as invasive species. They usually bask during the day, staying incredibly still to help them camouflage against the foliage. They are very, very flighty and very quick to escape any potential threats. These predators include, but are not limited to, birds of prey, snakes, and even fish. And the second they see danger, they will flee, which brings us to their weird adaptation. These lizards are also known as the Jesus Christ lizard, and it gets this name for their odd ability to run on water. So how do these species of basilisks do this? So for starters, these lizards have large and long feet, which create more surface area and buoyancy. But further than that, they actually have flaps of rolled scales on their toes. These scales will unfurl when they touch the water's surface. And as they run, they will slam their feet onto the water's surface, making air pockets. This allows them to stay afloat for about 15 feet or 4.5 meters. That is more than 10 times their body length. And they will keep running on the water until they begin to sink at that 15-foot mark. But like I said before, fish can be predators, so they can't just stop there. From here, they have two options, one being to jump onto land or foliage and keep running until they find a hidey hole or they outrun the threat. Sometimes it will even run on land on its two hind legs. Their second option is to swim further down and wait out the threat above, while also keeping an eye out for predatory fish. Luckily, basilisks are great swimmers and fast runners. And if running does fail and they cannot escape their predator, their last effort is to use their long tail as a whip, basically slinging it around trying to hit the predator to scare it off. And now on to lizard number 4. We talked about them with the first lizard since they're related, but meet Phragmosoma hernandesi, also known as the short-horned lizard or the regal-horned lizard. They range from southern Alberta, Canada, going as south as central Mexico and South America. They are the most widely distributed lizard in North America. These are probably the weirder one on the list in my opinion. So their first line of defense, of course, is camouflage. They have some pretty bumpy textured skin that really gets them to blend into the rocky terrain. And just like their relative that we talked about before, they are lion-weight predators eating mostly ants, again helping that camouflage and helping them preserve their energy. And once again, the camouflage mostly works on predators such as birds of prey, but they also really have to watch out for snakes and especially canids, like the coyote. When camouflage does fail, they will puff up their bodies, getting up to nearly 2 times their original size. This puffing up is made to scare predators away by either thinking that the lizard is simply too big to eat or looking like a potential threat by presenting its spike-like modified scales on its back. And they're even more dramatic. After puffing up, they will usually flip onto their back to scare and confuse the predator even more. This will usually work on snakes since they see this as a little bit too much hassle for the energy they'll be getting from this meal, and they will usually go on to an easier catch. But while this may work on the snakes, this usually does not work on canids. And coyotes are such a huge predator to these lizards that they don't even try the defense of puffing up. They will go to their last and probably strangest defense. This lizard will actually shoot blood from its eyes at the predator. I'm not even kidding, that's exactly what they do. It's just blood. They do this by reducing the blood flow out of the head. This will cause pressure buildup in the blood vessels of the face, and this buildup will cause the blood vessels in the eye to burst, allowing a stream of blood to shoot out. This blood can shoot up to 5 feet in the air and can even be aimed. They can actually choose where the blood shoots by shifting their eye muscles. This isn't only startling, but it's also a chemical defense. It is just their blood, but this blood is especially bad tasting to canines. And on to our 5th and final lizard. This is also a group of species that all have the same adaptations, so just keep that in mind. Dracos, also known as flying lizards, are a genus of agamid lizards. These lizards are found in densely wooded areas across Southeast Asia and southern India. And they're on this list, so of course they are diurnal. They are also exclusively arboreal, only leaving the trees when the female has to go on the ground to lay her eggs, if they get knocked to the ground, or if they land on the ground to escape a threat. When they do get on the ground, they are very clumsy, but are very quick climbers. So as long as they can get back on the tree, they are usually good. They do have incredible camouflage against the bark of the trees that they live on, and when they do see a threat, they do not hesitate to run away. Predators are very vast for these lizards. This includes snakes, birds, and even other lizards. But predators aren't the only threat. Draco lizards are extremely territorial, and they usually have a home range of 1 to a few trees, with the males constantly guarding their home. When males do come into contact, they usually fight or try to threaten each other by displaying their dewlaps. More commonly, the more submissive one will run away, getting chased by the more dominant lizard. If this Draco lizard is getting chased, they will usually have to make the decision to take a leap. This is where it shows off its more unique strategy of escape. Draco lizards have 6 specialized ribs on either side of their body that are covered tightly by loose skin. These ribs can expand out, giving a cape-like appearance, and allows them to glide from tree to tree. A low-angle glide can carry them up to 160 feet or 50 meters. And I could go on and on about these lizards, but I do kind of want to leave room to give them their own videos maybe in the future, or to include them in other videos. So I definitely didn't go over everything to know about these lizards, just the odd adaptations that they have to escape. That being said, that was our last lizard and all I have for you today. As always, I might do another part to this if you guys want, and of course, leave a comment if you have a specific animal that you would like me to cover. I am doing a full video describing reptile adaptations and what those are relatively soon, as well as a full snail anatomy video. So if either of those sound interesting to you, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell. And maybe even check out my other videos if you want to help the channel out. All of my links, including my Instagram account, my art Instagram account, my Facebook group, my wife and I's Etsy, and more importantly, all of the links I used in today's video, including photo links, will be in the description down below. I upload every single Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as always, I will see you guys next week. Bye.